the Dells regarding the accounts for kids. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But
days of the year for philanthropy and charitable giving. And this afternoon, Michael and Susan Dell are committing to one of the largest private donations in American history, which will directly benefit the next generation of American children through the new Trump Accounts program.
all right, so he's slurring. I mean, did you hear that, Joan, or is it just me? I heard it.
You may have heard it, but I think you're looking for it.
I don't think. Okay, so no, I'm not. I'm just going to tell you what happened this morning. I didn't know about this until I saw it this morning.
Okay.
I'm pulling audio as I do every single morning, and I noticed it. Then I Googled Trump slurring, and I realized there's a lot of people who. I mean, it was a story.
Okay.
So I did notice it. I'm not looking for it. I did notice it. And again, I would be a hypocrite if I said, oh, he's not slurring. He is slurring. I don't think it's any big deal. I mean, I'm going to tell you, there are mornings where I'm slurring because I have allergies. And so it happens to me
I thought
where
that was the drinking problem.
Well, there's that too. In the occasional cannabis use. I'm just kidding. I know it sometimes sounds like that, but no, I'm not. But no, there's times when, I have allergies. I don't know. Maybe he's on some kind of a medication. But I don't see it impacting his thinking. That's the thing. I don't see it impacting his thinking. When Joe Biden was slurring, he was also wandering all over the place. And he'd go for like days and weeks. Nobody would see him. Nobody would talk to him. You wouldn't hear much from him. And then you would see him, and he's a complete and utter mess, not to mention the fact that half the time you couldn't even understand what the heck the man was saying. So I don't know why the president was slurring. I don't think it's a big deal because I don't see his thinking impaired at all. And he is sharp. He's leading all of these meetings. He's leading all of these, the cabinet meeting from yesterday, press conferences as well. And so I don't see this as a big story. I don't. He's 79 years old, and maybe he's taken some medication. I really don't know. By the way, they did release some of the medical records that he's done. I haven't paid attention to that part of the story, and everything is fine. So I think that the media is hyper-focused on Donald Trump, number one, because it's Donald Trump, and number two, because there may be an overreaction because they completely ignored Joe Biden's clear cognitive decline. And I don't see any cognitive decline in Donald Trump. It is 6:30. Brian Wilson up next on WTN.
It is now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Taking a look at our forecast right now, it's 28 degrees and overcast, and we'll go to 46 later today. Stefano DiPietro, though, is telling us that there may be some rain that arrives tomorrow night, and if it gets cold enough, and that's a big if, we could see some slick spots, perhaps some snow, perhaps some freezing rain. We're on top of this, and we'll have more coming up here in the forecast right after the news. The margins were slimmer than he had hoped for, but ABC's Perry Russum tells us that Republican Matt Van Epps has claimed victory in the 7th District congressional election that was held yesterday.
The head of the Republican National Committee says the win last night makes it clear voters do not want, quote, far-left candidates who hate the very people they claim to represent. And this race was closer than many expected. One analysis found Republicans currently hold about 100 congressional seats in districts that are less red than Tennessee's 7th.
So where did Matt Van Epps run into trouble? In Montgomery County, that was the tightest margins there. Van Epps winning 53% to Baines 45%. In Davidson County, it was all Afton Baines. She topped Matt Van Epps 77 to 21%. Now, the congressman-elect is joining Dan just about an hour from now at 7:35. Make sure you're here, too. A Nashville man is charged with attempted criminal homicide after running his pickup truck into a marked police car. 27-year-old Josiah Martin reportedly called 911 from the Bell Forest condos on Old Hickory Boulevard in Bellevue, saying he was going to kill someone. And when police got there, they say he rammed his truck into the officer's car, knocking it down an embankment. The truck crashed into some nearby woods. Now, the officer suffered minor injuries. Martin was taken to a hospital and placed under arrest. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic coming up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Jones. 632 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN, Dan Mandis here. You know, Vision for Life, they are celebrating 20 years of 2020. That's right. Since 2005, Dr. Jeff Horn has provided thousands of patients 2020 or better vision. I'm one of them. Dr. Horn's expertise and dedication have made him a leader in cataract, LASIK, and other vision correction surgeries. Dr. Horn's commitment to providing the best possible patient experience, in addition to the most advanced technologies in vision correction, has made Vision for Life one of the premier vision correction centers in the world. When it came time for my vision correction surgery, I went to Dr. Horn, and I've never been happier. Call them, 615-436-2020. If you want to correct your vision, 615-436-2020. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. I recommend them highly. Visionforlife.com is the website, visionforlife.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on
Still
Super
dealing with
Talk
trouble on
99.7
southbound
Sunday
side in
evenings from 7 to 8.
Goodlettsville
We're going to look at the
Long Hollow
news
Pike,
from a
exit 97,
biblical
the crash still
perspective.
taking out the left lane there. And then in Talbot's Corner, 65 South at Trinity Lane, exit 87, you've got a crash there, and it takes out the right shoulder. Goodlettsville as well. Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, eastbound side at Center Point Road, exit 2. The right shoulder is blocked off by another vehicle crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Looking at some of these numbers, I'm going to get Brian Wilson's take on this. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dan. Good morning to you.
All right, so I'm looking at just a couple of things here regarding last night's District 7. I mean, Matt Van Epps obliterated Afton Bain in, for example, suburban Williamson County.
Right.
He got gosh, like 25,000 votes, and she got like 9,000. So, I mean, she did well in Davidson County. Ultimately, I think she lost by, and he won by about, 8 or 9%. And by the way, I would mention that the Cook Political Report has this district up 10, not 22. So there's a lot of different ways to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
But give me your overall.
Well, listen, first of all, a win is a win, and you take it and you celebrate, and I will not allow the Democrats to come forward and say, well, we lost, but we won.
Yeah, that's
Because, that doesn't fly. A win is a win is a win, and congratulations to Matt Van Epps. Now, set all that aside for just a moment and look at this as the way the political experts look at it, and that is, how did it do compared to 2024? Well, there are some flashing red lights here that we should pay attention to. Number one, Davidson County. She got 32,000 votes compared to 9,000 votes for Matt Van Epps in Davidson County. It was 77% of the vote compared to 21.5% of the vote. Now, that's a good turnout. Now, the thing that saved Van Epps was the fact that all of the other counties came to his rescue, even Montgomery County, where it was a little closer, he won by 9 points. So that's all very good, but you got to look at how the Democrats performed. Bain got over 115% of the 2022 Democrats nominees total. In other words, she did way better than Democrats have done before.
I think the Democrats, number one, they smell blood in the water.
Yep.
That's number one. And number two, they really did pull out all the stops here in this special election.
They spent a ton of money, and they really crashed the boards. Ted Cruz put it this way last night. He said it was dangerous. We could have lost this district because people who showed up, many of them are the ones who are motivated by how much they dislike President Trump. He talked about the next election, the midterm election. In a year, it's going to be a turnout election, and the left will show up because hate is a powerful motivator. And this is the thing that I've been raising the flag about. Democrats are motivated because they hate Trump.
Yep.
It's the Trump derangement thing. They just can't stand him. And our side, we're sort of rocking along here going, oh, everything's good and the economy's starting to turn around and I'm feeling good about things. I believe we're headed in the right direction. But you got to understand that the Democrats do not share that opinion. So the midterm election is what you got to look at, and I think that it's entirely possible it's going to be a very tight election. All of the people who do this for a living are sort of looking at this and going, man, we have got to get it together for the midterm elections. The good news is, of course, that I think for the midterm elections, the economy is going to be coming around. A lot of the things that Trump has done really haven't, hit the market yet. They haven't really landed.
It hasn't baked in yet.
No, it hasn't really baked in. I mean, it's not really going to happen until after people start to file their tax returns.
Yep.
And then they're going to see, hey, all of a sudden I got more money than I expected to have, and it's going to boost the economy and everything will be fine. I think people will be well satisfied by the time we get there, but we have to be very vigilant here because, look, he won. It was a 9-point win. I don't know where we were. The last time I was with you was just before Thanksgiving when that poll came out that had Van Epps up by only 2.
Yeah, I think that was so here, and it's
it may have been an outlier, but it may have also been, closer to the truth than we would want to admit. And and I think, had it not been for people crashing the board, sending up the flare, including the voices you hear on this radio station, that we might not have had as big a turnout as we did. It was a big turnout for an off-year election. It really was. So, people got to the polls. I think our side woke up late and said, holy moly, we can't let this woman win. We've got to crash the boards. And they turned out big on election day, and it may have turned the thing around. But one way or the other, it does. I don't think it bodes very well for the midterm elections. Maybe not in Tennessee, but basically, let's see. Trump won this district by 22 points.
Yep.
And Matt Van Epps won it by 9. That's an alarm bell that should be going off.
So one of the things, a couple things real quick. Number one, on that Emerson poll, 2%, Van Epps up by 2%. The Poly market was actually more accurate than
it was.
than the Emerson poll. But here's the thing, though. You bring up a great point, and part of what you and I talked about last time, I don't know if you remember, but part of what I was saying was it's possible that polling was done. And it was done
just before all the crazy stuff
came out.
You may have a good point there, Dan.
Yeah, and the other thing is when you dove into the data, they actually did not have enough Trump support representation.
Right.
So, all right, putting all that aside, she says that she's going to be back. It sounds like Afton Bain is going to run again. Can I ask you this question? I would say that she was clearly a flawed candidate in many different ways. I believe that she is weak on policy. She's not great on television. She is somebody who is like AOC, very social media savvy. But then when it came time to, answering questions from, air quoting, journalists on CNN and MS Now, she completely dropped the ball. So do you think that she is a viable candidate to run in a Democrat primary heading into the next midterm election?
Well, I think that she will walk away from this saying, well, I lost, but I did better than everybody expected, and I think she'll be motivated to try it again. I don't think she's going to have any success because I think she's now a very damaged candidate. I mean, the stuff that came out and the crazy that has been on display with her personality and her campaign, I think it's very offsetting. I mean, there are going to be people in Davidson County who turn out big if she's going to be running, but I don't know that she will ever overcome some of the crazy that is now attached to her name.
I think she is a damaged brand.
I think you're right. Yeah,
and I think that a more serious candidate. There was a guy yesterday. His name was Julian Epstein. He is a longtime Democrat strategist.
Yeah,
he actually
very left.
Yes, he called her not a serious candidate. So I think that tells you.
I heard some Republicans. I had some folks over at the House last night, and one of them was a state senator, and he said, "Look, if this was a flawed candidate." Mm-hmm. And she, they thank goodness the Democrats put somebody up against us who was determined, but the audience determined and the voters determined that she's just whack. She just
wackadoo.
And yeah, I mean, she's a wackadoodle, man. There's no doubt about it. And that came across. If they had put somebody else up, it might have been a different turnout. Who knows? But one way or the other, look, you take your victories, you celebrate them, you move forward. It's a big victory for Matt Van Epps, and I'm very happy for him. Having done one of the debates in the primary among all the Republican candidates, I thought he comported himself quite well, and he handled himself on that debate stage very well. I was impressed. Privately, when people came up to me and said, "Who do you think did best?" I mentioned Matt Van Epps, and I said I think he really was very solid in his answers, and I think he's going to make a good congressman. I'm very excited about what he'll do when he gets to Washington, and I'm just so thankful that people responded in a big way to make sure that he went over the top.
I think Brian, we're talking about this. I think this is actually the best possible scenario, and here's what I mean by that. What I mean by that is the Republicans won. But there was enough of a margin where, as you said earlier, there's alarm bells that are actionable. The Republicans can learn from what happened here in the 7th Congressional District last night. So, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done. There is this conversation about affordability, and I agree with you, and I've been saying this for quite some time, and I know you have as well, that the president and the Republicans have done a lot of things to improve the economy. I've been going through them. And I think all they have to do is they've got to bake in, and it's going to be a great 2026. We've got more with Brian Wilson coming up next. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Trinity Lane, there's an accident on the right shoulder
As far as your weather for today, not as cold as yesterday. Sunshine, though, a few clouds and a high of 45. Right now, it's like 29 degrees outside, really cold. And I appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. By the way, WTN TV is now up and running and has been. So if you want to, go, Brian, I was really heartbroken. You of anybody can appreciate the situation I was in this morning. I actually wore a new shirt, and then I came to work, and the WTN TV was not working. So it's like my button-up shirt was for nothing. So now we have it working, but I did force Louie and Joan to compliment my shirt in the 5 o'clock hour.
Okay, well,
I'm such a tyrant. All right, real quick, you want to talk about the Venezuelan boats?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm big on what we're doing. I think we sent down an aircraft carrier battle group to that region, and we told Maduro, get out, and he said, I don't want to get out. And then we said, okay, fine. Consider the airspace over Venezuela shut down, which they can do. Yep. And then he called back to the White House and tried to work out some kind of deal where maybe he would leave, and they wouldn't take the call. So, he's sweating in Venezuela, and he should, because I'm telling you, for a long time, I've been a big proponent of the idea that, we should consider the narco-terrorists to be terrorists, exactly what they are, and that anywhere else in the world, if we have terrorists who are working against the United States' best interest, we don't hesitate. I mean, Democrats haven't hesitated. Obama didn't hesitate. Biden didn't hesitate. And Republican presidents have not hesitated to do what needed to be done in the interest of national security. This has always been a national security issue. And we should have been shutting it down a long time ago. I like it. Now, all of this stuff about, was there a second shot? I don't know how that's going to shake out. It does, I know that the left hates the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. But I'm not sure it was his call. He says, basically, I was in the room. I watched it happen in the skiff. And then as soon as the first shot was taken, I got up. I had other things to do. He wasn't even in the room when the second shot was taken. I don't really think that's going to be much. At the end of the day, I am completely in favor of what we're doing in that region. And I don't have any hesitation at all. If you send a drug boat out there, you should expect that it's gonna get smoked. And at the end of the day, if you think that's a bad thing, quit sending the drug boats into the ocean headed for America.
It's not that
Stop
hard.
it.
I want to know how
you can end this in a minute.
I want to know how they keep getting people to get in the boats and take the drugs over here.
Well, you're talking a lot of times about very uneducated people who are desperate to make a living in that part of the world, and and perhaps not even aware of the danger because they're just not plugged in the same way that we are.
I love, though, how they're saying, oh, these are fishing boats. Yet they've got these high-powered motors.
I've never seen a fishing boat that'll do 60 miles an hour on the water.
All right, so inquiring minds want to know, Brian, how many Christmas trees do you now have in your home?
Well, I haven't gone around and counted each one, but I thought when this all started that it would be around 15, which is outrageous. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you it's out of control. It's beautiful. I love it, actually, but I mean, it's really, I mean, that's a lot. And then, I don't know, there were these boxes that kept showing up on the front door that had Cabana Wife's name on it from Amazon, and they were suspiciously the size of Christmas tree boxes. And all of a sudden, I have been sort of informed that, 15 is very low. It may be more like 25, perhaps 27. We've lost track.
What?
I know, it's insane. Now, some of them are little small trees, and some of them are big trees. I mean, we got a big old, 12-foot tree on the front porch, and we got one out in the pool area. We got two out in the pool area. One is the traditional flamingo tree, and then the other one has not yet been decorated. I don't know what it's going to be. And we're in the process now of still decorating trees, but it's beautiful, and it is lovely to look at. It's a lot of work, and quite frankly, I think when Christmas is over, I'm going to have a talk with Cabana Wife about, this addiction that she has.
Expect to get nowhere.
I was going to say.
Well, my addiction is guitars, and that's That's a fairly harmless addiction. Her addiction is Christmas trees. There's just, that's the way it is.
Brian,
but at least they're
hold on.
beautiful at the end of the day.
I got to push back on you. I know how much guitars cost. They're a lot more expensive than Christmas trees.
Yeah, but I don't go out and buy 27 of them. So, I have a lot of guitars.
Actually, Brian, I've been in your music room. I know that you've got several bass guitars and a whole bunch of electrics. And by the way, they all have to have the amplifiers and the pedals and all those other things.
It's a hobby. But, people spend a lot of money to play golf, so...
Yeah, there is that too. All right, well, thank you, Brian. And people are telling me to ask you about the big food spread that Cabana wife Wilson put out last night.
It was always a great spread, and I'll be seeing you in a week over at the house, Dad, for our big party, and I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to be the guy that walks in. I'm going to have the napkin in my shirt. And a couple of utensils in my...
The Dangria will be awaiting you.
Oh, yeah. All right, very good. Thank you, Brian. We'll talk to you soon. 6:52, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, you going to go to the Wilson Christmas party?
You bet I am.
Did you have the Dangria last year?
I did not.
So do you know the story behind the Dangria?
No, I guess I don't.
All right, very, very, very quickly.
Okay.
So I'm getting married. This was a couple years ago. I'm getting married at the Parthenon. Well, unbeknownst to us, we had this whole thing where we were going to have Dangrias, but my Dangrias, they feature red wine. Well, the Parthenon, I had no idea. They're so hoity-toity. They've got these white marble floors. They wouldn't allow. We found this out like the day.
No.
It was like a day or two before the wedding. And so we're just, I was okay. But Amy was like apoplectic. So... there's so many reasons why we love Cabana wife Wilson. But she concocts some sort of Dangria featuring white wine.
Oh, nice.
And it was incredible, this wine that she concocted. So she concocts it. And you know what she also did? Is I'm having breakfast, I think, at IHOP. And she drives to IHOP. And I'm trying different Dangrias in the middle of the parking lot. And it was the greatest thing. And she, honest to goodness gracious, she saved the day. She really did. And it was incredible. So I will always be indebted to Cabana wife Wilson. And so that is the story behind the Dangrias that you will perhaps be drinking at Brian Wilson's Christmas party.
I look forward to that.
It is 6:54. Time to, let's see here. What are we doing? Okay. The news is coming up at 7. And Joan, what do we got coming up?
Yeah, sad story. A Sumner County middle schooler died after an ATV crash. Also, President Trump is doubling down on his war on narco-terrorists. Got those stories and more at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right. Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. Super Text line is open. Very active, by the way, this morning. Appreciate it. This December, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are spreading holiday cheer with amazing deals. And yes, community giving as well. Now, first, help us make the season brighter. Drop off a new toy at Busy Bee headquarters in Lebanon for their toy drive, benefiting less fortunate families in Wilson County. And while you're giving, treat yourself. Upgrade your water heater this month. And yes, get a free 10-year parts warranty. Some exclusions apply. If you want more, join the Beehive membership for free. That's right. You can become a Beehive member for free. Bake a Buzz the Bee cookie, snap a picture, and tag us on social media. Plus, when you book air duct cleaning, buy the middle tier package. They will upgrade you to the deluxe for free. And here's the big one. This is my favorite. If you got a clogged main line, their $93 or free offer gets your drain flowing, or you pay nothing. And for big projects, whole home water or drain repipes, they're going to give you a $500 gift card after installation. Tell you what, they're always looking for ways to save you money at Busy Bee. Buzzing with holiday deals in Hometown Heart. Call them today at 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybehvac.com. 6:59, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to believe who I just found out lives in Nashville.
Who?
I'm not going to tell you yet. But I just tried to have a moment with Louie.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, Louie, do you know who lives in Nashville?" And I told him. I got a shrug.
Oh.
And it felt like, I'm going to tell you, I love you, Louie. It felt a little like a hostile shrug at that. I even sang the famous song that this person has to Louie. I got a second shrug. However, we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more coming up. By the way, Tom Peppert also joining us. Coming up after the news at 7, we're going to break down the early voting in the 7th. We know that Afton Bain did win the early voting. By how much, we're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about Davidson County, Montgomery County, Williamson County. Going to break down some of these numbers with Tom coming up next. It is Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Hello there. It is 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, the voters have spoken, and Matt Van Epps is the winner in the special election in the 7th Congressional District here in Tennessee. He spoke to WSMV4 after the race was called last night.
I say we have the resounding victory. This is a victory for Republicans. It's a victory for our district. It's a victory for President Trump, and we're carrying that forward, and we're going to continue this winning.
As for her part, Democratic challenger Afton Bain says she's not going anywhere, although it's not clear what her future plans are.
This was a district that Trump was supposed to win handedly, right? 22 points. We shaved off the margins of that. And they can't take the South for granted.
Bain says she called Van Epps after the results were clear, and she urged him not to allow Obamacare subsidies to expire. In other news, in Sumner County, a teenage middle schooler has died after a Thanksgiving break ATV accident. 13-year-old Bentley Springer was out riding with friends, according to a family friend, Chris Dobry. He spoke with News 2.
She hit a tree, and she went into cardiac arrest, and there was nobody there to resuscitate her as far as the news that I got.
Springer was a cheerleader at Knox Doss Middle School. Her family made the decision to remove her from life support. They say her organs were able to save the lives of 4 others. President Trump is saying yesterday that his administration could attack accused drug traffickers across Latin America very soon. Those comments come after the Washington Post's unsubstantiated claims that War Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a second strike on a so-called narco boat, which resulted in the death of 2 people on that boat. Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
I think the president is acting under his authority as commander-in-chief in a way that's consistent with what past administrations have done. And clearly, a war has been waged by these drug cartels against the United States, and it has come at a great cost to American citizens.
Now, the Washington Post has floated the idea that Hegseth may have violated international law concerning that second strike. And in Hanover County, Virginia, a raccoon managed to find its way into a liquor store, ransacking the shelves and breaking bottles. Police were called for a disturbance inside that building. They eventually did find the critter who caused all that wreckage. It was passed out on the bathroom floor, face down, all 4 spread out. The officer took it to a local animal shelter, he said, to sober up. I have posted that story with the pictures on my X account. You can find me there at Joan Jones WTN. Kind of funny. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Futures pointing up with the Dow futures up 122 right now. NASDAQ futures plus 54. S&P futures are up 19. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. All right, Dan Mandis here, 7:04 in Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. By the way, you just heard me and Brian talking about politics, news of the day. That is brought to you by the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on just for you. It is their special, the Big Daddy Trump special, $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment, just $12. That is a great deal. So if you are riddled with chronic back, neck, or knee pain, they can help you with their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. Call them today to get started. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com. Do not forget that July special. $12 is going to get you that comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, that well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com.
Okay, gotta watch it on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. Still there this morning, a crash that takes out the left lane, and it's causing some big delays there. Also, Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Goodlettsville. The eastbound side at Centerpoint Road, there's another crash in that area, and the right shoulder is blocked off by it. Green Hills, I-440 eastbound near Granny White Pike overpass. Watch for a crash there, and it takes out the right lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, and appreciate you being here for this December 3rd. It is Wednesday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I just found out, Joan, that probably an artist that you listened to in the 80s actually lives in Nashville, Tiffany. So Louis tells me he was more of a Debbie Gibson guy.
Sure he was.
I liked Tiffany because I had a thing for redheads back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. So there you go. So her song is featured on Stranger Things, which is, I mean, just an incredible show. I know you're not into it. Louis probably not into it, but it is streaming up the charts yet again. Tiffany,
Okay.
and I think we're alone now.
Guess how old she is?
Oh, gosh. You know what? Tiffany, she's probably, if I'm almost 58, I'd be willing to bet that she is about 50.
She's 54.
Is she really?
That's just, I feel so old.
How old are you, Joan?
I'm not telling.
Do you know what the thing is? When I say that I feel old, you know what Amy always says? Well, it's because you are.
Yeah.
That's what I live with. Tom Pappert is also a guy that lives in Nashville. Hey, Tom, how are you? So we got Tom, Louie? I don't hear Tom. Am I supposed to be doing something?
Maybe he doesn't like Tiffany.
You know what? Maybe the Tiffany scared him off. So I don't hear Tom. And so what we're going to need to do, you know what I could do? Is I could just play more Tiffany until we get Tom on.
Yeah. You could do that,
but I'm not going to.
I would suggest not.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. If we can't get Tom, and I see Louis working with all the switches, we do this every day. And I don't know why sometimes we have a hard time getting the audio up if we try to do Zoom. Hey, Louis, let's get Tom to call in. Why don't we just go ahead and get him to call in?
Forget the video part of it.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, as we do this, let's talk about some of the early voting, because that's really what I want to talk about with Tom about. So have him call up. Either you call him on the hotline, or he'll call us on the hotline, whatever. But let's get him on. So somebody was asking me the question: who won in early voting? Well, that would be, if we're talking about Davidson County, certainly it was Afton Bain. They say that the partisan breakdown, key turnout highlights from last night. We had a partisan breakdown. Early voting favored Democrats, with Afton Bain leading by 6 points in initial tallies. Polls showed early voters breaking 56 to 42% for Afton Bain. Election day voters favored Matt Van Epps, who's going to, by the way, be joining us at 7:35.
So is that a tally for the entire early voting period?
Let's see here. Yes, for the entire early voting period. The Democrats' early advantage narrowed the GOP's expected margin from Trump's plus 22 in 2024. But, this was all about Davidson County.
Yeah.
So when you look at Davidson County and you look at, the fact that they just, whether it's early voting or whether it is what happened yesterday, it was an expected blue wave in Davidson County. But Matt Van Epps won. There he is. Matt Van Epps won in every single other county. So for me, I'm like Brian. And I do believe that this may have been the best possible scenario where we won. That's a good thing. Is there alarm bells here? Well, let's get on the phone with Tom Pappert. Tom, how are you? Thanks for playing along and calling into the hotline as opposed to Zoom. So, Tom, real quick. So obviously we know who won, Matt Van Epps, but it seems like the overriding opinion is that is a good, solid win for Van Epps, and the Democrats are trying to play this as some sort of a victory. And I'm not going to go down that road, because I don't believe it is a victory for the Democrats in any way, shape, or form. But there's things that the Republicans can take away from this.
Well, I think that's right, and I agree with your analysis completely. This is in no way a victory for the Democrats. The Democrats were telling everybody as recently as about a week ago this was a 2-point race and Afton Bain could win. Afton herself said this race is going to set the narrative for the Democrats in the South. We're going to show the Republicans that the Democrats are still a fighting force. So, no, this is in no way a victory. She didn't come even close. A 9-point loss is nothing to brag about. But I do think that Republicans have learned that the urban centers cannot be ignored. We've seen this in Pennsylvania. We've seen this now in Tennessee. And nobody wants to live in Nashville because it is a Democrat-run city. It's a blue dot in a red map. Everybody wants to go to the red part of the red map. But in that early voting, at one point, in fact, I think as early voting concluded, Matt Van Epps had just 3,000 votes coming out of Davidson County, that slice of the district that slice of the city that is in the district, I should say. And I think that is a real alarm bell for Republicans. As Republicans move out of the cities, are these votes just disappearing? Is it becoming a leftist bloc? And we also saw similar in Montgomery County, where Afton Bain, of course, lost, but she came closer than I think was anticipated. So a lesson, I think, for the Republicans is don't neglect your cities just because you know that the majority of your voters might be living in the suburbs. But when it comes to lessons for the Democrats, well, I think they've got to go back to the drawing board after tonight. They've been hoping that this affordability argument that Afton Bain started making only after she won the primary, they were banking that that was going to be the next major issue and it would drive them into the midterms. But they had a candidate who ran on that issue. She had the National Party backing her on that issue. She had Kamala Harris fly into town to back her on that issue, and they lost by nearly double digits. It's pretty embarrassing for the Democrats, I would say.
It's interesting, Tom, because, Kamala Harris did come in, but she never really endorsed Afton Bain, and they never even took a photo or were on stage together. So it didn't seem like the national Democrats, we can talk about Kamala Harris, we can talk about Al Gore, who lives in the state of Tennessee, supposedly, and, he phoned it in. You had AOC phone it in as well. None of these national Democrats actually appeared on stage in person with Afton Bain. So I guess part of me wonders, did they really support her, or was it just, we're going to throw this against the wall and see if it sticks?
Well, I think they knew this was the likely outcome, and that's why Kamala Harris, as you said, she never actually endorsed Afton. Even in her get out the vote message yesterday, she never endorsed the Democratic candidate in the race. And as you said, it's all been Zoom calls. You read the headlines, you would think that Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Pramila Jayapal have all been in Tennessee the past week campaigning for this candidate, but that didn't happen. They sat on a Zoom call. In Jasmine Crockett's case, she was actually in her shoe closet as she did the Zoom call for the Bain campaign. So I think that they knew this was the likely outcome. They knew that they didn't really have a chance, but they spent a lot of money and they spent a lot of effort. They sent Ken Martin, the DNC chair, to town. They sent an untold number of Democratic activists to knock on doors in Nashville, and they had a poll, a very favorable poll from Emerson Polling, claiming it was a 2-point race just a few days ago. I think this could be a real Lucy, Charlie Brown, and the football routine for the Democrats, where they might have convinced themselves they had a real chance, even as the people at the top of the party and in Congress knew it wasn't the case.
7:15, Tom Peppert is joining us from the Tennessee Star. Got more straight ahead, and it's time to check the roads on WTN.
Eastbound at Center Point Road, accident on the right shoulder, and Green Hills 440 eastbound near the Granny White Pike overpass. There's an accident in the right lane. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Very good. A few clouds today and a high of 45. Cold now, 29 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Tom, let me ask you this. So you talk about how the Republicans can't ignore the cities, and I agree. How do they cater to the people in the cities, though? Like, what do they need to do? Are you saying that there's Republicans, which there's conservatives that live in Nashville. How do you inspire them specifically in the cities to come out?
Well, it's a great question, and I think this is a new area for Republicans to explore. But I think Van Epps, perhaps it was an issue of campaign door knocking and not having a lot of activists descending on Nashville the same way the Democrats did, because I would argue his campaign was a very good way to do it. He backed Trump's policies that challenged some of these far left-wing mayors. And I think that is probably the best way to get somebody living in a blue city to turn their head for a candidate, even congressional, even presidential, anything, is by pointing out, we know you have a far left-wing government. There are ways to rein it in. There is a president willing to rein it in. And if you send me to Congress, speaking on behalf of Van Epps, then perhaps something will be done to rein it in. We've seen this with Andy Ogles, of course, who in the past year has sort of made it his mission to tame the more far left-wing instincts of Mayor Freddie O'Connell in Nashville. And to his credit, since Andy Ogles started the congressional investigation a few months ago, you haven't seen the far left-wing mayor do any more fundraising campaigns for illegal immigrants as he was doing. So I think that is the solution. How you bring this message to voters who in Nashville, Republican voters, may just be completely apathetic, that will be the challenge.
One of the things that I found interesting watching this whole thing play out, of course, you have some people that think that Afton Bain was a great candidate. You have other people that believe that Afton Bain is a horrifically flawed candidate. What say you?
Well, she is a terribly flawed candidate if you can actually meet the candidate. But if you watched the sort of hype train created for her, it was, again, all about this affordability. She's actually a moderate. All these videos of her screeching inside Bill Lee's office, that's not the real Afton Bain. The real Afton Bain is the one that's on this very well-produced campaign commercial. That's what they're talking about. They loved the campaign commercial version of Afton Bain, and they thought, maybe they still think, that that will be the type of commercial and language and political campaign that will be successful in 2026. In fact, I think what they're really saying is we can take this horrible candidate who says that the air in the city she seeks to represent is racist, and we can gaslight the public through advertising and PR campaigns into thinking that this person is a moderate. It failed. That's the real lesson from last night.
Do you think that the results might might have been different if they had a different candidate who was better on TV, because she's terrible on TV, better on TV and better on policy, and someone somebody more moderate.
I do think so. I think that in the classical Rhino Mitch McConnell angle, if the Democrats were honest this morning, they'd be saying we had a candidate quality problem last night. That was the issue. Because there was another candidate in the race, I don't want to give him any free publicity, but who made this very moderate economic argument. And I know in the Tennessee Star newsroom, we were all a little bit worried that guy was going to win because he seemed as though he would be an effective candidate. Now, even if the Democrats had managed to not elect a crazy person, I do think Van Epps would have won, but it might have been closer to that 4 or 5 point race that the Democrats were looking for in order to make this their next party line for 2026.
It does seem like the Democrats have an identity problem, right? So are they the party of Afton Bain and AOC and Rashida Tlaib and all of these folks, Ilhan Omar? Or are they the party of, more moderate candidates? I mean, what are we going to see from them in the midterm elections?
Well, I think what we've seen with Afton Bain is we've seen kind of a marriage of these two candidates. They want to essentially create a Mamdani without the baggage and create it entirely through the media. I think that we are learning this is what the Democrats are going to try to do. They're going to essentially marry their 2024 version of that politics where it's crazy Kamala Harris, transgenderism for everybody, we're going to raise your taxes, but they're going to marry that somehow with the Mamdani, the evil Republicans are making the city too expensive and we're going to make it cheaper. They want these two things to be wed. That's probably the only way for the party to move forward, if they can somehow keep the establishment crazy people while allowing in the socialist crazy people. It's not going to work. This reminds me a bit of 2018 on the Republican side, where a certain segment of the party simply refused to back the president, and it really led to downfall in the midterms. I think that could happen to the Democrats, especially if the redistricting process continues to favor the GOP.
One of the things that I would ask is heading into the midterm elections is, all right, so you got a lot of people that are doomsaying the Republicans in the midterm elections. I'm just not there yet. I mean, I think that we are going to have a good 2026 from an economic standpoint. What say you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it seems to me all of this new investment in the United States, $20 trillion, it's all being built and will be hopefully starting to be completed in 2026. Meanwhile, the Democrats have no message. As we've been talking about, they're fighting amongst themselves. They thought they had this affordability argument. That's really out the window now. If the Republican Party can stay unified at the state level, at the federal level, especially if the Supreme Court reins in the Voting Rights Act, there is no reason to think that the Republicans are doomed in 2026. In fact, this could be one of these rare midterm elections, hasn't happened in a very long time, where the reigning party increases its hold during the midterms.
All right, so real quick, last question. Emerson versus Polymarket. Now, you and I spoke about this back when the Emerson poll came out, where they had Afton Bain up by 2, but the Polymarket, it turns out, was incredibly close. I don't know where it ultimately ended up, but the Polymarket was Van Epps plus 10, which is closer to where this whole thing ended up. I think he ended up winning. Did he win by 8 or 9 or 7? What is the final tally?
9 points.
By
Just
9
about
points.
9 points.
So
which
Polymarket
I
was spot on.
Yesterday, by the way. Yes, Polymarket was spot on. I think that the fear and the problem with Polymarket is that on races like this, it becomes it's less easy to trust because of all the attention on the race. People who don't live in Tennessee betting on it, it sort of distorts things. But in this case, I think that it shows maybe that doesn't matter as much as the politicos like us are being told by the number crunchers in the world. Perhaps these political betting markets are actually a little bit better than these very expensive polls.
I would agree. Tom, how can people find you on X?
You can find me, of course, at Real Tom Pappard, and thank you so much for having me on. Sorry about the tech issues.
No problem. I appreciate it, and we'll have you on again. 724, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I think we've got an issue.
What is it?
Well, there are now people that are complaining about the Christmas music.
Oh.
So I think what we're going to do, hey, Louie is never going to come back. Hey, Louie, let's do a very quick Daily Dan poll. Christmas music or no Christmas music on Nashville's Morning News starting today. So that's what I want to do. And I love to let the listeners decide. You know, if we did a Daily Dan poll, should Dan get fired? You know how many people would say yes, fire Dan? That's one Daily Dan poll we will not be doing because I don't want to end up in the fetal position underneath the desk.
Yeah, but they'd only be saying it out of love and the utmost respect for you.
Sure. I'm sure that's true. 724 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news. By the way, Matt Van Epps is going to be joining us at 7:35 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got a great question for Matt, as a matter of fact. So she's going to participate in the interview as well. And Joan's got the news at 7:30. Joan, what do you got?
Yeah, the latest twist in the targeting of narco-terror boats by the U.S. And the one thing you want to do before taking your packages to the post office for delivery this holiday season. Those stories and more at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Listen, right now they've got a great deal going on. It is the Big Daddy Trump special. $12 gets you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. Call them at 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. They helped me with my chronic back and neck pain. They can help you as well. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. Their state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression is going to help you. 615-246-5009. Find them online anytime. Painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com. All right, 7:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. WTN Matt Van Epps is coming up next, and News with Joan Jones is right now.
Well, here we are. It is 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Tennessee's 7th District congressional seat is staying red with a win last night from Matt Van Epps. In his victory speech, he gave a hint about what's next for him in Congress.
And together, we'll bring down the cost of living. I'm tired of too many Republicans ceding affordability to the Democrats. The truth is, Biden and the Democrats in Congress robbed the American people for 4 years. Through Bidenomics, with record-setting inflation and crushing costs inflicted upon all of us.
Now, the special election was seen as a referendum on the Trump agenda and as a barometer of what to expect in the midterms. Now, shortly after Decision Desk called that race about 8 o'clock last night, President Trump messaged on social media, quote, "Congratulations, Matt, a big win." Well, stick around. Congressman-elect Van Epps is joining Dan in just a couple of minutes at 7:35. Other news, a new twist in the narco boat strikes performed by the Pentagon in international waters. The family of a man who was killed during one of those strikes has now filed a formal complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. They say the man was a simple fisherman and he was killed illegally. Regardless of that commission's ruling, it would not be legally binding on the U.S. Well, this is the most wonderful time of the year, but it can also be a frustrating time for folks who ship their presents through the Postal Service. Tips on getting it there in time from Natasha Garvins with the Postal Service.
Make sure you take all the markings and labels and decals off that are not ours so that those barcodes don't mix with our system and cause your package to loop around a facility.
The Postal Service has said it hired 14,000 seasonal employees for the holidays this year. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for Stoltz Co. Listen, this is a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. You know, they do build pole barns at Stoltz Co. You can live in these pole barns. You can actually do anything you want with these pole barns. They can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barn dominiums. Again, you can live in these pole barns. All you need is a piece of land. Now, they are now offering you turnkey options at Stoltz Co. Now, this means that they handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key and you are home. Now, your new pole barn from Stoltz Co. can be used for anything. So if you've got some land that needs a building for whatever you want, call my friends at Stoltz Co. That phone number is 615-622-5992. 615-622-5992. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. They've got great social media. Find them on Instagram. Find them on Facebook to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. STOLTZCO, stoltzco.com.
65 on the northbound side. There's a crash in Berry Hill. The right 3 lanes are blocked off just past Armory Drive because of it. And then southbound on 65 in Goodlettsville, there's a crash that's still taking out the right shoulder at Long Hollow Road Pike. Also this morning, I-440 eastbound near Granny White Pike overpass. The right shoulder is blocked off by an accident. That's right there in Green Hills. Woodbine, Nolansville Pike, north of Antioch Pike. Watch out for a crash there as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
(7:37) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's get right to the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman-elect Matt Van Epps is joining us. First question I got to ask is, how's it feel?
Dan, good morning. Well, it feels amazing. It's so incredible. It's great to be on with you. We started this journey back in June on your program, and it's been just an incredible 6 months. The first thing I really want to say is just thank you. Thank you to your listeners, to the voters, to Tennesseans who have put their trust in me. I do not take that lightly. I'm so honored and grateful for your support. And we won decisively yesterday, and I will never forget it. And I'm going to work incredibly hard every single day to represent our district so well.
Joan's got a question.
Yeah, so I was watching you guys last night, you and your wife, and I'm thinking, after an event like that, do you go home and sleep and like, oh gosh, it's all just lifted off my shoulders now? Or do you toss and turn and go, holy cow, I have to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that? You know what? How'd you handle last night?
Well, Joan, I'm running on a couple hours of sleep.
Yeah,
and we stayed in the ballroom there to shake every single hand and take every picture with anyone that wanted to be there, because people were there, and that's what the right thing to do. We wanted to do that, and so we weren't going to leave until we were able to talk to everyone that wanted to talk to us. And then when that got done, we had some phone calls to make. I talked to the president last night, and he could not be happier. So encouraging. He's so excited. That was great. Talked to the speaker last night. And he's motivated and excited, and we celebrated with the team, and what just an incredible team. And we so many people, from the campaign team to volunteers to donors to most importantly the voters, and we celebrated some, and it was just great, and I'm so honored to be in this position.
You know what's so crazy? So I'm sitting here thinking, it was a couple of months ago, I think you announced that you were running, but like a year and a half ago, you're working in Governor Lee's administration and so forth. But did you, in your wildest dreams, think that you would be talking to Donald Trump, the president, as a congressman-elect? That's just amazing to me.
Absolutely not. No, this was Meg and I were talking about this last night, and just how blessed we are, number one, but how amazing this journey has been and how grateful we are. I mean, 2 days ago, the speaker is with us the entire day. I mean, we did, I think, 10 stops, and we were in 6 counties. I mean, literally I think he was wheels on the ground at like 5:40 a.m. and he didn't leave until I think 10 p.m. I mean, all day. And it just is humbling and amazing. And, I've talked to the president a number of times now. I'm hoping I get to see him at the Army-Navy game, and that's why I mentioned that to him last night. And but no, I could not have imagined this, and I'm so thankful for the Tennesseans that have put their trust in me, and and Dan, I think the other another really important point, the folks that did not vote for us, I'm still your representative. I still work for you, and I'm going to work really hard every single day to fight hard for our district.
How does a person now prepare to become a member of Congress? Like, what do you have to do? What's on the agenda?
Well, the interesting thing about this, in a normal election cycle, you're elected in November, you've got until January. So you've got time. You've got a few weeks to go through a pretty deliberate transition process with a number of meetings and briefings. We're going to have about 48 hours. So we're going to hit the ground running very fast. And the good thing is there's a whole network of support, and the office is still running. The office is reported to the House clerk without a member, so that the system is still in place. We are going to get into D.C., do some briefings very quickly, and then vote. I think the first vote that I take could be tomorrow, potentially.
So you're going to be sworn in like tomorrow morning?
The plan is tomorrow morning. The plan is being sworn in tomorrow morning. There's a few things that are logistically that are being worked through. So there's a chance that could be next week, but the plan right now is sworn in tomorrow.
So you talked about, Matt Van Epps is joining us. And by the way, Joan, get that audio bite ready. So you talked about wanting to, remind folks that you are going to try very hard to represent, all the people of the 7th Congressional District. And I think that's great. Have you received a lot of feedback? During the campaign, Afton Bain was on here yesterday talking about how she's received a lot of, threats and all these kinds of things from people on our side. Take that for what you will. But talk about the reaction to your campaign from people on the other side.
Well, yeah, I stopped, honestly, Dan, I stopped paying attention to social media. There's a lot of positivity on social media, but there's also a lot of dissent, a lot of negativity. And with the important mission that I had as a candidate, I really, we have an amazing comms team and we were pushing messages out, but I wanted to focus on my key task, what I needed to do every day to take the message to the voters. And so I really stopped paying attention to social media just so I could execute my mission. And there's, I think one of the things that I really want to do and show is that point of working for everyone. Now, obviously, I'm a conservative. I'm an America First conservative, and I'm going to be there to fight alongside the president and alongside the speaker. But the only county we didn't win was Davidson County,
right?
And we're still going to work. We're going to work really hard for Nashville. We're going to work really hard for Davidson County, and I think that's what we have to do. It's the right thing, and we're going to do that from day one, which could be tomorrow.
You won by roughly 9 points. Now, some are saying that it should have been more like 20. What do you think about that line of thinking? You have some people on the left claiming that this is some sort of a victory because they feel like you should have, won by 22 points. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is a decisive victory for us. This is a special election. I think if you look back to the last competitive House race here in 2018, I'll have to look at that again, but I think the margin was about the same. And so this is a decisive victory for us. Special elections have their own kind of dynamics, and this one's right after Thanksgiving, but we love the margin. So grateful for the president's backing, so grateful for his support. His endorsement really allowed us to get this done, his early and strong support, and I'm so grateful for that. But no, we're excited about the margin, and we think that this is the momentum here is what's going to propel us into 2026 and allow us to hold the House and expand the margin for Republicans.
I do have a lot of faith in 2026. So we have more with Matt Van Epps coming up next. Time to check the roads on WTN. Cold today, a few clouds, a high of 45, really cold right now. I appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so we got a piece of audio here. Joan is going to play it. This is Afton Bain talking about her concession phone call to you. Play it, John.
I called the congressman-elect, Matt Van Epps, and I had one question for him. what will define what happens next. Do not let the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire.
So how did that phone call go?
Well, first off, I really appreciated her making the call, and was grateful to receive the call. It was very quick. She said, she told me, hey, I have one ask, and it wasn't exactly in the way she phrased it there, but it was basically like, don't let the subsidies expire. And I just said, well, thank you. We're going to take a hard look at everything. We're going to be working really hard on healthcare, and we're going to look at everything that comes across our desk, and we are going to be looking at healthcare. And so, I appreciated her call. It was pretty early, and it was before we started our program, before we went on stage, and so grateful that she made the call.
One of the things that I think is going on is, everybody is looking at this race as a precursor to the midterm elections in 2026 next year. I have stated over and over again, I think the Republicans and Donald Trump have a lot to be proud of here in President Trump's first year of his second term. I think there's a long way to go. What are you most looking forward to as you want to effect change for America as you head off to Congress?
Well, I'm excited to fight for our district, for our families, our farmers, military, and veterans. We're going to work on affordability. I think that's something that I've heard loud and clear across our district, and that's housing and healthcare, childcare, energy. And we've talked, Dan, I know we've talked before too about energy and how important that is, about unleashing America's energy dominance, oil and gas, nuclear, making a real push into nuclear. It'll drive down costs for farmers. It drive down costs at the pump for utilities.
Yep.
And I'm really excited to be a part of that, especially with Tennessee already leading in nuclear with a first small modular reactor going at the Clinch River site in East Tennessee. But there's a whole lot we've got to work on, keeping taxes low, cutting regulations, really driving America first forward.
I have one more question, and somebody wants me to ask you this from the super text line. Did any of the other candidates in the primary help in your campaign? Did they go out and campaign for you? I know you had the whole bury the hatchet thing.
We did. We did the bury the hatchet. They did. There were a number there last night, which I'm so grateful for. Over the last week, a number of the candidates were at our rallies. They were out campaigning for us. Saw a couple out at stops we made at polling sites yesterday. I am so grateful for those other candidates. Great candidates, great people, and their support was just really amazing and humbling, and so thankful for them. And that's what when we unite the party and we come together, we're going to win decisively, and I'm very grateful for them.
I truly believe that the Republicans are more united than the Democrats, despite what the media is trying to tell folks. Okay, so a logistical question or two. Number one, are you reaching out to the other members of the Tennessee House, and they're going to tell you how things work? I mean, do you have anyone who's going to mentor you, maybe a Scott DesJarlais or a Tim Burchett?
I've talked to both of them, and I'm in contact with the delegation, which has been amazing. They've been so helpful in this process. Talked to the senators. I'm so grateful for both of them. And so the delegation, the Tennessee delegation, is going to be really critical to hitting the ground running fast. And then, I think a whole lot of other folks that have reached out and been helpful in this process, from the speaker on down. And we have a great rapport, great relationship with a whole lot of folks. And so that's going to let us hit the ground running hard tomorrow.
All right. I always allow myself one really dumb question. Usually I end up with a couple. I know that Scott DesJarlais, he actually lives in his office. He's talked about that before. And so have you thought about, just the logistics of living in D.C.? A lot of these guys and women, I guess, they live in their offices, which these offices are really big. Have you thought about the logistics of like renting an apartment? I know that former Congressman Mark Green, he was renting a house with a bunch of other Congress people back when he was in Washington, D.C. Have you thought about that part of how your life is going to change?
I have started to think about that. We were pretty focused on yesterday, but now I've started to think about that as well. And I think we're looking at all those options, and we'll make the best decision possible. And when we get to D.C., we're carving out a little bit of time to go and look at all of those kind of things.
That's
And,
so interesting.
No, that's a good question, Dan.
Yeah, so not stupid. Good question. Thank you. All right, so Congressman-elect Matt Van Epps, thank you very much. Congratulations, and looking forward to see how things go.
Dan, thank you so much. Thanks for what you do. Joan, thank you.
Yeah,
Hope you all have a
congrats.
wonderful day.
All right, you too.
Best
See you
to
later.
you.
Thank you all.
I should have asked him about Christmas music, Joan.
No, I think he probably could take a pass on that.
Can I just say, he is a class act.
He really is.
Like that
He
dude
really
is a class act.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I like him a lot. So
I noticed that he sort of rebuffed your question about Afton Bain and the whole, I told him to save the ACA. He answered it classy.
he did.
Yeah.
He did. I was hoping that he would say, oh, she's a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I knew that he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because you know why? He's a class act.
He's a class act.
I got a shame on you. By the way, I did 15, 13. So you want to peek into my life real quick? Because I've got like a minute.
Yeah.
So I'm interviewing Congressman-elect Matt Van Epps. I get a note from 1513 in the middle of the interview that says, shame on you.
Oh.
Now, I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I say? Right? So I said, why? Because I thought I did something wrong. And he says, you hate Christmas. I don't hate Christmas. I don't like Christmas music. But I must admit, Joan, that as a talk show host, one of the things that we always have to embrace is taking accountability and admitting when we're wrong. And this might be a moment where your humble host was wrong about Christmas music, because we took a Daily Dan poll and we asked, is it too early for Christmas music? Christmas music on the show, yes or no? And overwhelmingly, Louie, people said, Louie, we can't hear you, man.
Yeah. Turn the mic on and up.
I had that big buildup.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
So 72% says yes and 28% no.
72% want Christmas music on the radio
Most of the people
broadcast.
that said no, though, are in the YouTube chat. They said they can't hear the music anyways.
There is that.
It's self-serving.
But anyway, so we'll go ahead and we'll do Christmas music on the show. I'm just not going to belabor the point about Christmas music as we are only at December 3rd, but clearly people want to hear it. And I'll be honest with you, Joan, I don't know about you, but I am feeling optimistic? I'm feeling optimistic.
So I feel like you're feeling optimistic, as I am, because Matt Van Epps won. It looks like there's a path to keep going the way we're going. It's not all doom and gloom like the left would have you believe. So, yes, I feel the same.
And coming up, 8:06, after the news, we are going to talk about some great things that happened yesterday in the White House cabinet meeting. I don't know if you saw any of that, Joan.
Yeah, I did.
Holy mackerel. Oof. So I've got some of that, and I think that's kind of why I'm feeling so optimistic. So I've got that coming up next. It is 7:55. Joan's got the news at 8. Joan, what do you got?
Well, coming up here, o'clock now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Army combat veteran beat the community organizer in yesterday's special election here in Tennessee. Now, despite her loss, progressive Afton Bain sounding defiant.
I called the congressman-elect, Matt Van Epps, and I had one question for him. What will define what happens next? Do not let the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire.
Now, the victory for Republican Matt Van Epps will help to shore up a razor-thin Republican House majority and also boost hopes for the midterms. Other news, Luigi Maggioni is back in court yesterday, along with the Pennsylvania police officer who arrested him in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Correspondent Aaron Katursky.
Officer Joseph Detweiler testified that when he responded last December to a tip about a male who looks like the NYC shooter, he was so skeptical he didn't even turn on his police siren. But as soon as the man pulled down his mask, the officer said, "I knew it was him immediately." The officer said Mangione gave him a fake name and ID for a Mark Rosario and claimed, "I'm homeless." But the officer didn't buy it. He's heard telling a supervisor, "I'm 100% sure it's him. He's nervous as hell. I saw his fingers shaking."
Mangione's lawyers are trying to get as much evidence disqualified before the start of his trial. The Trump administration has put the brakes on all immigration applications from 19 countries, including Afghanistan and Somalia. This comes after the shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. The Trump administration also pausing all asylum decisions, suspending visa and immigration processing for Afghans, and a review of green card cases. Now, according to a memo from the Department of Homeland Security, quote, "We will take no chances when the future of our nation is at stake." Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Numbers are in now, and the National Retail Federation says about 203 million consumers shopped during the 5-day stretch between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday. And that, by the way, is a record number. Stock futures this morning on the plus side. We've got Dow futures up 95, NASDAQ futures gaining 51, and the S&P futures are up 18 points with the opening bell in just about 28 minutes from now. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. crash in Whites Creek. This is on 24 on the eastbound side at Clay Lick Road overpass, and the left lane is blocked off by at Berry Hill. 65 northbound side before I-440 exit 80. That crash is taking out the right exit lane. And Paytonsville I-840, the westbound lanes just past Paytonsville Trinity Road. Watch, there's stop-and-go traffic that leads up to a crash involving injuries there as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Text us 615-737-9986. Watch us on Super Talk TV. You got YouTube, Facebook, X, 997WTN.com. You know all the things, like and subscribe. We do have a headline here, and it is November private payrolls unexpectedly fell by 32,000, led by steep, they say, small business job cuts, according to ADP. Now, we'll continue to talk about that. They do talk about how larger businesses did do a lot of hiring, so probably mixed whatever. But here's the thing, is that I believe, and we were just talking to Congressman-elect Matt Van Epps, where there's a lot to look forward to in 2026. Yesterday, I'm watching the cabinet meeting with Donald Trump. You got J.D. Vance. You got all of the cabinet with Donald Trump in there, and they're doing what they do. You all have seen it before, where everybody's kind of giving a report on how it's going within their agency. But one of the things that J.D. Vance did, and this is obviously by design, because the Trump administration is getting hammered at every turn, because you know that I'm not going to sit here and say that the economy is perfect. But there are a lot of good things that are going on. And so J.D. Vance wanted to, and you folks know that I really, really like J.D. Vance. He is my pick for 2028. But he wanted to take a step back, and J.D. wanted to talk about how good things are going.
That it is absurd that Democrats talk about an affordability crisis that they created and the people around this table work every single day to address. You'll hear a lot of statistics today. You hear a lot of statistics in our political conversation. I think the most important statistic for the American people is that under the Biden administration, the average American family lost over $3,000 of household income. And under the first 10 months of this Trump administration, they have gained over $1,000 of household income. What that says very clearly is that we are fixing the problem that Joe Biden and the Democrats created in the last administration. If you look at every affordability crisis that's confronting the American people today, it is traceable directly to a problem caused by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Why did homes get so unaffordable? Because we had 20 million illegal aliens in this country taking homes that ought by right to go to American citizens.
Now, J.D. Vance is absolutely right, of course. We've had millions of illegal aliens and migrants paroled into our country, and now here we are as Republicans trying to deal with cleaning up all of this mess. And here's the thing. Joe Biden shanked an awful lot, and I do understand that things are not perfect right now. I do. I get it. I'm not trying to be Pollyannish. But folks got to realize what we went through for 4 years with Joe Biden. And you can't just turn around America and the massive, massive economy around just like that. You just can't. Especially, by the way, when Donald Trump is being fought at every turn. But when you talk about everything that Joe Biden brought us, we're dealing with crime. Schools are not doing well. Hospitals, emergency rooms are being used by illegal aliens as their own private healthcare system, free of charge, of course. So what JD is saying is true about housing and other things as well. I mean, you look at the schools that are not doing well. More often than not, there's a lot of illegal alien kids in those schools. English is not the first language by any stretch of the imagination. And a lot of these things, a lot of these issues are caused by illegal aliens. And I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just speaking facts, man. I'm just speaking facts. What J.D. Vance is saying about housing is absolute truth. We have a building shortage. The administration wants to build 5 million homes in the next several years. J.P. Morgan put out a report saying just this back in February. Different analysts will tell you different things, of course, but the bottom line is we need to build more homes and we need to deport more people. Listen to this. This is from Newsweek. Guy named Alex Bean, financial literacy instructor for the University of Tennessee at Martin. This quote from Newsweek: the impact of undocumented immigrants on the housing market is difficult to fully understand as data pertaining to it remain spotty at best. From what research has been published, we can gather most of these individuals are renters by a large margin, which can put pressure on the demands of building new rental complexes. And by the way, those renters eventually want to own homes. So when you have a lot of illegal aliens, when you have this huge crush of people over, 4 years, that impacts everything, including the housing market. Vance also, by the way, spoke about the cost of goods and services, inflation, of course, and the cost of gas, et cetera. All of this train wreck under Joe Biden.
On every single one of those issues, Mr. President, I think we've made incredible progress. But it would be preposterous to fix every problem caused over the last 4 years in just 10 months. I think that we've done incredibly good. And I think that next year in American growth and American prosperity could be the best year that we've had in the United States of America. It's going to happen because we're all working hard. It's going to happen because we have the greatest country in the world. But I think for congressional Democrats in particular, if they want to talk about affordability, they ought to look in the mirror. We are fixing what they're broken. We're proud to do it. It's the job that we were elected to do. But I think 2026 is going to be the year where this economy really takes off.
I mean, I think that J.D. Vance is spot on. I mean, it helps that, I've been saying this for a while now. But remember what I talked about yesterday. And look, again, I have to keep saying this, and I'm sorry, but I keep saying it. I'm not being Pollyannish. I understand that there's some challenges out there. But right now, gas is at a 4-year low. GDP is on the rise. Real wages are up. And the unemployment rate is at, I don't know when you factor in the jobs that we found out today that were lost, but it's been at a 4%. The unemployment rate at a 4%, which is considered low. That is considered low. So I understand that there are challenges out there. And every time I start going down this road, people are accusing me of, sucking up to Trump. I'm really not. If you know anything about me and if you listen to my show with any modicum of regularity, you know that I'm not afraid to criticize Donald Trump. I mentioned yesterday, CBS News piece where grocery prices, they did this whole thing. CBS News piece where grocery prices have not only leveled off, but they're now going down. They talk about this basket of groceries, right? And so this is what they use to determine if groceries are going up or down. They always use the same basket of groceries. And so that basket of groceries is now leveled off and is going to continue to go down. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with our economy, but there's a lot of good that is going on. This whole thing about affordability, and you just heard J.D. Vance say it, this whole thing about affordability is heard by the Republicans. It is heard by Donald Trump. Trust me when I say we went through it during the 4 years of Joe Biden. And now what the Republicans are trying to do is get affordability back on track. I know, I've seen the polling. Nobody cares about what is going on in Gaza. Nobody cares about what's going on with Israel. Nobody cares about what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. I understand that. I do, but a lot of people don't. Because the polling all says you've got to focus on what's going on at home. Well, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, has something to say about that, and that incredible audio is coming up next. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather for today, it is cold outside this morning. A few clouds, a high of 45. I don't know. What is our, Joan, you got the, or Louis, do we have a temperature right now for what's going on outside? Last time I checked, it was like 30, 31, 32, something like that.
Right now, National Weather Service says 28.
28? Oof. All right, very good.
Yeah.
We're having a cold wave. So Scott Bessent, and you know what the thing is? If I go onto the super text line right now, I know that there's going to be people that are saying, oh, you're kissing Trump's rump. No, I'm really not. I'm really not. I am one of those people that I believe that we learn more from our failures than our successes. Joe Biden was 4 years of failure. 4 years. You know it and I know it. You think it's really that easy to just turn the massive economy around? Of course not. But the president and the Republicans have done a lot of good with a focus on affordability. This is Scott Bessent during the president's cabinet meeting yesterday. Listen.
And the great thing about that bill, sir, for the American people, it's for industry, 100% expensing. Build your factory here. You can write it off immediately.
By the way, Scott Bessent is talking about the big, beautiful bill. And I understand that there's a lot of negative in the big, beautiful bill. There's a lot of pork. We all covered it. I get it. But there's also a lot of good things that will continue to bring jobs to America. And it does everything it can to try to promote production, manufacturing, research, and hiring.
And the great thing about that bill, sir, for the American people, it's for industry, 100% expensing. Build your factory here. You can write it off immediately. But you also insisted on the 4 benefits for working people. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, auto deductibility for American cars. And that is retroactive. Mm-hmm. So as a result, in 2026, we are going to see very substantial tax refunds in the first quarter. So the best way to address the affordability crisis is to give Americans more money in their pockets, which is what this bill has done. We're going to see real wage increases. You know, I think next year is going to be a fantastic year.
So Scott Bessent says the best is yet to come. Polling shows that people are incredibly worried about their economy, not the economy. I always talk about this. I used to talk about it a lot more, but there's a difference between the economy. You know, we talk about, job numbers. We talk about, GDP. We talk about all of these different things that pertains to the economy. But what is going on with your economy? What is going on with your wallet, your bank account, your rent, your groceries, etc.? And I think Scott Bessent, I like what he has to say. They absolutely have got to focus on your economy in 2026, and I believe that they are.
You came in, immigration, I called it the 3 I's, immigration, interest rates, and inflation, that were killing the American people. Close the border, the promise kept. Interest rates are down, and 10-year bond, again, best year since 2020. And inflation led by energy prices is going to roll next year. I think it's going to be a fantastic year. We can look back, be very proud of this year, but I think 2026 is going to be great for the American people.
All right, so that is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Louis, I want to do a very quick Daily Dan poll. You ready? We might as well start calling these the hourly Dan polls. So, Joan, how should I frame this? I want to know where people are at as far as 2026. How are you? Let's do this. Are you optimistic about your economy in 2026? Because, J.D. Vance has a lot of great things to say. Scott Bessent has a lot of great things to say. And so I'm just curious as to where you are with all of this, because I understand why there's a lot of folks out there that are pessimistic. But there's a lot of things, and I've gone through all of them today, there's a lot of things in the big, beautiful bill that are, again, encouraging hiring. A lot of things that, tax breaks and that kind of thing. You buy an American car, you can write off that interest. So there's a lot of things that the president and the Republicans have done that, in my estimation, will help your economy. Louis, how did we frame that? How did we frame it? Because I decide these things and I probably should give it more thought, but they just come to me when I'm on the radio. So how did you frame it?
Are you optimistic about your economy in 2026?
All right, very good. And you said yes or no?
Yes or no.
All right. Take the Daily Dan poll. Watch us on YouTube if you would. And you can also chime in on the super text line, 615-737-9986. It is 8:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Jane, doggone it. Joan.
Here we go again.
Why do I do that?
I don't know.
Joan. There's something about that segue.
Yeah.
Coming out of the super text line, and then I want to call you Jane. You can call me Don if you want.
Okay, I think I will.
You do that. Anyway.
All right, Don.
All right. So, Joan, what is coming up in the news?
Yeah, so the Republican wins. We'll tell you what's next for Matt Van Epps, and a new report that shows the labor market may be under a little bit of stress. We've got that and more at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here at 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News. Imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. Now picture it. Your TV, phone, laptop, even that fancy fridge, all working together to make life easier. Well, Xfinity makes that dream a reality. Devices so in sync, you'd think that they're telepathic. Really smart Wi-Fi that knows when your device needs a boost. The best equipment to stream 4 games at once with multi-view, for example. An Xfinity Mobile that gives you Wi-Fi where you need it and 5G everywhere else. That is the magic of Xfinity. It is seamlessly in tune with you and your family and your lifestyle. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. I have been a customer of Xfinity for years and years and years, and definitely I was a customer before I was an endorser, and that is why I can tell you that this is a great company. To get started, call them, find them online, Xfinity.com, that is Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. 827 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Wellness Institute of Nashville and the Big Daddy Trump special, $12 is going to get you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. $12. That's it. 615-246-5009. You know, when I got to Nashville, I was riddled with chronic back and neck pain. Then I went to go see Dr. Kevin Mitchell and all the pain pros at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and they healed me right up. They fixed me right up. If you've got sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes, they can help you. Now, they're state-of-the-art, non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. They can help you, just like it helped me and so many others. No surgery, no number. $12 gets you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. One more time, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. Eight 828, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. And Joan, we took a poll. Hold on. I want to, don't say it yet. Louis.
His name is Louis.
I'm having a hard time with names today. Louis, I almost called you Justin. And I don't know why. I'm losing my ever-loving mind. Justin. It's
like
funny,
Bieber,
Louis.
because you remind him of Justin Bieber. No.
Please tell me you know a Justin.
I know who Justin Bieber is. I don't want to insult Louis by saying that he reminds me of Justin Bieber, who, by the way, is actually a very cool cat. Justin Bieber is. I actually like his music. Louis, do you like Justin Bieber?
Yeah, Justin Bieber's cool.
There you go.
I like Justin Bieber.
Boom. So, Louis, did I just, gain some cool points with you?
Nah, not really.
Ah.
Do you know what I love about Louis, Joan?
Yeah.
He is like brutally honest.
Yeah.
All right. So, Louis, as far as our Daily Dan poll goes, are you optimistic about 2026, economically speaking? Joan, do you think people are optimistic, yes or no?
I do, yes.
I'm going to guess that 70%, I have not seen it. I'm going to guess that 70% of our listeners to Nashville's Morning News believe that 2026 is going to be a good year. What do you say,
I'm
Joan?
down with that.
70? All right. Louis, what is it? Louis is laughing.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
82% yes, 18% no.
Okay. There you go. I was kind of sort of close. I'm where Joan, you and I are like the Emerson polling people. We're off by like 10 points. Anyway, so yeah, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, but ours was unintentional.
That's exactly right. And we have a lot of people that are chiming in on the super text line as well. Do I have time to do this? Real quick, 6983. First-time texter, by the way. Thank you, 6983. Dan, we all remember what happened with Biden. What you have to remember is that Biden is not here anymore, and we are still feeling it. Trump is doing his level best, but it's still very difficult when we have to deal with the economy the way it is because of Biden. We all know that Donald Trump is trying to fix things, but as humans, by nature, we are not very patient, especially when it comes to money and cost. 6983, that is a great text, and for a first text, I very much appreciate it. You do have to realize, though, that you can't just decide, well, screw it then, I'm not going to vote in the midterm elections. Donald Trump needs, and the Republicans need, all of the assist they can have in 2026 and beyond with the midterm elections so that they can continue down the path that we're on. If ultimately the Democrats end up with control of the House of Representatives, Lord help us, the Senate as well, then we are screwed, and all of the good things that Donald Trump has done will ultimately end up for naught, because they will be focused on everything from taking Donald Trump out politically, stopping everything that he has done, impeaching him, trying to charge, Tom Homan and Pete Hegseth with war crimes and all of the rest of that nonsense. So what I'm trying to say to not only you, 6983, but, everyone who is listening, who is pessimistic, you just got to have faith, see what the president is trying to do, see what the president has done, and we all got to move forward together. It is 8:32 on WTN.
8:32, I'm Joan Jones, and the margins were slimmer than he had hoped for, but ABC's Perry Russum tells us Republican Matt Van Epps has claimed victory in the 7th District congressional election.
The head of the Republican National Committee says the win last night makes it clear voters do not want, quote, far-left candidates who hate the very people they claim to represent. And this race was closer than many expected. One analysis found Republicans currently hold about 100 congressional seats in districts that are less red than Tennessee's 7th.
So where did Van Epps run into trouble? Well, in Montgomery County, the tightest margins were there. Van Epps winning 53% to Bain's 45%. But it was Davidson County. Afton Bain topped Matt Van Epps there, 77 to 21%. A Nashville man has been charged with attempted criminal homicide after running his pickup truck into a marked police car. 27-year-old Josiah Martin reportedly called 911 from the Bell Forest condos on Old Hickory Boulevard in Bellevue, saying he was going to kill someone. When police arrived, they say he rammed that truck into the officer's car, knocking it down an embankment. The truck crashed into some nearby woods. The officer suffered just minor injuries. Martin was taken to a hospital and then placed under arrest. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Evidence that the U.S. labor market is slowing down. And a report on private companies said that 32,000 workers were cut from the payrolls last month. Small businesses hit the hardest, but the report also showed larger companies reported a net gain of 90,000. Now, we did have positive pre-market trading this morning, but everything has fallen a bit here. The Dow Jones Industrials opening about 1.5 lower. The NASDAQ is down 66 right now. The S&P 500 index opening 4 points lower. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
8:34 at Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, Chris is in here busting my chops.
About what now?
Chops have been busted.
You keep it up. I'm going to call you Craig.
Okay.
Because I've screwed up everybody else's name on the show this morning, so I might as well screw up yours as well.
Leonard, Jan, I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that.
Anyway, so we have the crisscross handoff coming up next here on Super Talk. Have you seen, real quickly, because some latecomers to the show are asking me the very important question, Chris.
The tough questions.
Can we explain Afton Bain's outfit last night?
Yeah, what was she wearing?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it coming up.
She was like a Dolly Parton China doll.
And so if you haven't seen it, we'll have it on Super Talk TV, but we'll let Joan describe it as well, because not only the outfit, but also the makeup was
It was a little over the top.
little jokerish.
Yeah.
8:35?
I was thinking like a family-friendly drag show kind of thing.
8:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here, and I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends in Nashville because I can trust that they are going to sell your home hassle-free with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, Mark Spain Real Estate, they sell over 4 homes every single hour, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust them to sell your home hassle-free and for maximum value. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years. And they've served over 72,000 satisfied clients. Mark Spain Real Estate. Call them, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Find them online anytime. It is markspain.com to get that guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Trouble in Paytonsville this morning. It's 840 westbound past Paytonsville, Trinity Road, exit 34. Stop and go traffic in that area because of a crash that takes out the left shoulder. Also, if you're traveling 24 westbound side, right between the Tennessee-Kentucky state line and Oak Grove, Pembroke, exit 89. Watch it there. At least one lane is closed off. They're doing some paving work in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans with great prices, selection, and value. Now, I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for 4 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's. I've bought a washer and a dryer machine at DT McCall's. I just bought a new black refrigerator. I love these folks. They're great Tennesseans. They're great Americans as well. If you need an appliance, if it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on to save you money at DT McCall's. The first thing I do when I think that I need something new, I go to the front page of their website. I go to dtmccalls.com. They've always got all the best brands of appliances and furniture right there on the front page. Always got great specials and great prices as well. Really trying to save you money. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they'll deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. DT McCall's, they've got 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, that website, dtmccalls.com. $8:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Time for the crisscross handoff featuring Chris Hand and Joan Jones and Louie. See, I got everybody's name right.
You nailed it.
I did.
Write it all down on a piece of paper so you could look at it and read it off the paper.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I actually wrote down Louie's name. And I'm sorry, Louie, but I love you. You know,
Can I just be fair? What was it, like a couple of years ago, we had like the major announcement, right, where Murphy's, or it was like a year ago, where Brian was going to retire and Murphy's switching, everybody's in, right? Mm-hmm. Dan wrote down everyone's names.
I did.
And he hired all of us.
I did.
So it was hilarious.
I know. Anyway, Louie, you're doing a great job today. Well done.
Thank you, Dan.
Louie's a beast.
People got mad at me earlier.
Why?
Well,
Were you giving Louis some grief?
Well, I did.
You shouldn't have.
He was abusing me.
Oh,
Louis.
Stop it.
Why would you do that to him?
Okay. I am in the middle of a monologue, and he had accidentally left his mic on, and he's in there coughing. So I'm like...
Well, listen, is that better or worse than being in the middle of a monologue and KGB just flat out interrupting you?
Well, there was that
to fact check you in real time.
So I had to say, there's no other way to say it. Louie, turn off your mic. And that's all. And so then people are like, why are you being so rude to Louie? I'm not. I have to tell him that his mic was left on and he's coughing.
I can't. So Louie is in the middle of an allergic reaction. And instead of getting him help, instead of saying, Louie, do you, what is everything okay? Because clearly there was something happening if he didn't have an opportunity to turn his mic off.
No, he just accidentally left his mic on.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe
I was
that.
back there dying, but Dan wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. So Louie's, just for the record, Louie's a black guy. He's back there turning blue. And Dan doesn't notice or care. Please, die quietly.
I was in the middle of a train of thought.
I'm dropping thunder, baby. Die on your own time.
Nobody want to hear you die.
No, you know what I wanted though? I wanted to make sure that Louis didn't go through, having the mic on when he says, "This guy's such an idiot." Which also would have happened if KGB accidentally left his mic on because we all know that he hated me. Anyway, whatever. So,
Poor Louis.
Poor Louis. We love Louis. And he shows up. That's important.
That's huge.
All right, real quick. Louis, I've got monitor over here, video. So we were trying to figure out Afton Bain's outfit last night.
Oh, yeah.
So she is wearing what? And Joan, will you describe that?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. So I have at home when I want to wear something that's really casual, but I want to be warm. It's like a big, it's almost like a flannel coat, right? Mm-hmm. But it's pretty stylish. So that's what it reminded me of what she was wearing last night. It was a big, oversized, country-looking jacket.
I have never seen collars that big.
It had a big collar. It had rhinestones.
Those collars look like pterodactyl wings.
It felt like she was trying to channel some Dolly Parton.
Yes, but Dolly Parton does it sexy, right? Afton Bain does not. It was oversized.
Are you trying to say that she wasn't trying to do that?
No, she wasn't. It was oversized. Like
Joan, female opinion on the makeup.
Okay.
Because it seemed that she didn't look the way she normally looks.
Oh no.
Yeah, she did something.
The word that Dan and I used earlier was garish. She looked garish. Like it was over the top. And she's okay. This is really personal, and you have to agree with. You have to agree with me on this. She also had her hair behind her ears, but she has some big old flapper ears.
Oh, right. Joan.
Come on.
You're crossing the line, Joan.
You've gone too far. You've gone too far.
If I had those ears, I would not put my hair behind my ears. I wouldn't.
Joan.
Wow. Color me honest.
Hey, Louis, can you get Joan a saucer of milk?
My wife said that Afton Bain was trying really hard to prove that she is Nashville.
See, that's what I was thinking too.
That's definitely what
I
she
was thinking
doing.
too.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, because I know that if I go onto the super text line, people are yelling at us for going after her looks.
Oh, I thought they were still mad about you letting Louis die.
So, I will remind people that she called Donald Trump a racist, white supremacist bigot.
Yeah.
So I'm
and
sorry.
His supporters.
Yeah. So I'm sorry if that's if I've offended somebody's delicate sensibilities, or we have by. Although I didn't expect Joan to go in on the ears. That is a
That was an unplanned development. 1570 on the text line said, "I swear." Robin Williams as Mork in Mork and Mindy wore that shirt on a crossover episode back in the early 80s.
Oh, man. Okay, here you go. Sue says, fellow Philly girl here, I love Joe. See, she gets it. She understands.
TB says claws out.
Oh.
That's you, Joan. You got your claws out. Girlfriend.
0691 says, I'm with JJ, Joan Jones. Mm-hmm. Bain has serious Dumbo
ears. That's what that's
all
it.
Right. No.
That's harsh.
I'm going
but
to...
you know what the worst comment I saw? 6464. This one, this is over the top. She wanted to look like a Nashville Hillary.
Oh.
That's the harshest there is.
Do you know what? That actually... I always thought that Hillary dressed like Kim Jong-un.
Like with the pantsuits.
Yeah, with the pantsuits and the weird thing with the buttons and all that.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see.
You could also see Hillary Clinton telling her staff to refer to her as dear leader.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, I could. And if you don't, we'll find you suicided, shooting yourself in the back 3 times. Right.
Yep. Many such cases.
So I think that what she's trying to do, Afton Bain, is I think she was trying to overcompensate for the whole.
Absolutely.
For the whole, I hate country music thing. I think that's what she was trying to do.
But why didn't she start doing that before? Why'd she wait till last night?
Yeah, I still don't understand why she didn't just come out and be like, yeah, it was a stupid podcast. I was BSing with some friends. Like, obviously, I love Nashville.
Is that what she said?
Like, but why didn't she? I think she said that she cries at the Country Music Hall of Fame. That was her cover-up.
Yeah.
Every time she walks through there, she tears up.
See, the thing is, though, and this is well-worn territory at this point, but you're right. That's probably what she should have said. But the thing is that she not only said she hates country music and the bar, she hates Tennessee, but then you find out there's all of these other comments that she has made about, women who have babies are part of the patriarchy of Tennessee and the South and all that other kind of stuff. So unfortunately for her, it all was part of a pattern. And I think that did inspire Republicans in the 7th to come out.
Yep.
She also, by the way, just real quickly, so we can get off this conversation about her ears, because I've actually, we shouldn't comment on her ears.
No, I would never.
No.
Joan?
I did. I went there.
But you know what I thought was interesting was she couldn't help but bash Tennessee during her concession speech. Listen to this.
They created these districts to be uncompetitive, but they don't understand Tennessee. They don't understand the South. They don't understand our stubborn hope of people who have been underestimated for decades.
Do you know who's been underestimating Tennesseans is Afton Bain?
Fair.
Right? By the way, she's actually, do you know what's so funny? I just realized. Joan, do you remember this? Because, you used to do news. Well, you still do. But you used to.
I used to.
Whoa.
Oh, my God.
What am I doing now,
Whoa.
Dan? Wow.
Commented on ears, clearly.
No, you no longer do news. You are an ears commentator is what you are.
Clearly.
No. What I meant to say was you used to do news in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
She sounds a little Hillary there.
She does. In fact, while
Joan,
she was
you heard that
speaking,
too.
When she was speaking, I had to actually turn the volume down because it was hurting my ears. There we go with ears again.
She can't get off the ears.
She can't get off the ears.
Man alive.
Sorry.
But she does. She sounds a little bit like Hillary.
Yeah.
So,
Screechy.
Yeah, a little screechy.
Do you think she's taken advantage of the new beauty trends from all the online influencers that we're hearing so much about? No? You don't know?
Online?
You haven't heard this?
No.
I wonder. I bet you she took advantage of this. There's New York Post put out a story. There's a new beauty influencer, skincare enthusiast trend. And do you know what they're doing? This is crazy. This is a real story. They're saving their menstrual blood for facials.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, my
Just
God.
stop. I did not hear that.
Are you? That's like witch-like.
Yeah.
That sounds like something a witch would do.
Oh, wait until you see the pictures. Tell me that doesn't look like a witch.
Oh, my
You see
goodness.
that?
Well, can you
that
show
on
it to
screen?
the...
Yeah, so there it is.
Oh, man.
This is a trend happening.
So they save their
There's
menstrual.
something so wrong with
They
people.
call it menstrual masking. And menstrual masking advocates are pointing out that period blood contains stem cells, cytokines, and proteins, all of which they argue can revive the skin and give it that extra glow.
Joan?
I'm grossed out beyond measure.
Let's go back to talking about ears.
Yeah, I think ears was a pretty safe place.
I've been sitting on this story for like a couple days.
I want to know who the first person is that thought that was a good idea. Like,
Kim Kardashian is among the first celebrities
that is
to
a
do it.
Of
shocker.
course she is.
Yep.
Well,
There's
I'm
also,
just I'm thinking about like some influencer at home that is just thinking, okay, I'm gonna
we're doing it for the gram.
yeah, like, and I don't know how do you capture it? Like, how do you?
I would assume that there's some sort of canaling device.
Should we ask Joan?
I wouldn't.
You may not. You may not. No.
I wouldn't. I
Oh,
wouldn't.
man. All right, fine. I'm sorry.
There's another one too called urine therapy that they're doing.
Urine therapy.
Participants cover their skin in urine.
Whose or what's?
Their
Their
theirs,
own?
theirs and
They
theirs.
capture their urine.
Yeah, which is probably a little bit easier.
Probably.
I would imagine.
Do you know what
I'm not an expert at
Do you know
this
what I'm
kind
going
of
to do
things.
the second I get off the air? And guys, you know this is true. All of us are thinking the same thing.
You're going to start drinking just to
Well,
forget
yes.
this.
I'm gonna ask Amy, how would you capture your blood? Like I'm generally, because Joan's clearly not going to tell us.
I know.
So, guys, you know, back me up on this. There are thousands of guys in Middle Tennessee thinking, How would they do that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
There's a lack of dermatological evidence that any of this works, by the way.
Of course. Lou, you think this works?
I'm not sure.
What I mean, honestly, because what scientists would study this in the first place?
What's that, Joan?
What scientists would study this in the first place?
Well, nobody probably thought to study it because nobody thought people would actually do this. Enter the Kardashians and Instagram.
They're nuts.
It's a weird world in 2025.
You know what? We need an intern to do these things and get back to us.
I feel like we would get sued if we did that.
Really? You think so?
Here's your assignment for today.
Listen, get me a cup of coffee and capture your urine and that other stuff.
That other stuff?
I don't know.
We're trying to say it in the most HR-friendly way possible.
There's no, you know what? Thousands of people are going to bring us to HR, file an HR complaint for having to listen to this segment.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Have you ever noticed that Chris brings these things that are uncomfortable all the time?
I do.
You know, foreskins and vasectomies. Why do you bring uncomfortable topics to the 8:30?
Because the mainstream media won't cover it.
It's a big cover-up, Joan. That's what it is.
I see.
I'm tired of Big Tampon taking advantage of all of this stuff.
Okay. I'm glad I asked.
I wonder if they're going to come out with a product where you can buy it at a department store. This blood.
Yeah, but does it work if it's not
I mean,
your
they're
own?
already doing that. They're using little baby foreskins and all the facial creams.
That's why I don't use facial cream.
It really does happen.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It's weird.
Now my phone is.
Yeah.
All the women in my life are texting me, and I need them to stop. I'm on the radio.
Matt Murphy just texted. He said he's filing a hostile work environment claim.
All right, we got to go. 8:54. Chris, what's coming up?
We're going to talk about the election and why we shouldn't over panic. There's so many conservatives that are panicking. There's only 9 points. We'll talk about that. We'll also give you the latest on Somalia, the president's comments yesterday during the cabinet meeting, and more.
You're going to talk about Minnesota?
Yeah. Don't you know?
Somalia, Minnesota.
Don't you know?
How do you say "don't you know" in Somalian? Anyway. All right, 8:54 at Nashville's Morning News. Whatever. Chris is next. Dan Mandis here. And listen, if you're looking for great gift ideas, check out my friends at Contours and what they are offering you. Not only a belly buster special, but also a facial to take care of those fine. See, I knew that I got about 2 words in front of facial. I'm thinking, oh, God.
Here we go.
What are they putting in the face? Listen, it's nothing but red light technology.
Okay, good.
That's what it is.
It's good.
From Contours. But you get that belly buster special and a facial, both for just $149. That's right, $149. All you've got to do is call this phone number right now. Be one of the first 10 callers, 615-236-9960, ContoursLLC.com, and you can get that very special price. Again, a belly buster special and a facial. Take care of those fine lines, both for just $149. Do it for yourself. Do it for your loved one, whatever. They can help you at Contours and Red Light Technology. Check them out. 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, ContoursLLC.com. By the way, Chris, I did learn today that the audience with Nashville's Morning News, they want Christmas music.
They do.
Yep.
The people demand it. Hey, my wife texted me. She was giving me all these tips on the Afton outfit.
Oh, okay.
She took an interpersonal communication class in college.
Okay.
She said showing your ears in a courtroom or interview means you're listening and you care.
Oh.
And then they said that there's tons of psyche behind her outfit. The oversized jacket makes you look smaller than you appear. It was all psychology.
I see,
Yeah, but she's not a
yes.
big girl, Afton Bain.
No, she's not.
I mean, listen, we spent all this time dogging her, but
No, I'm not saying that she's fat,
Jane,
but
Joan, the J lady in the newsroom, who apparently used to do news, she's the one that started talking about the ears. So I'm going to say that, number one, I do, and I'm on record as saying this, that even though I didn't understand her makeup or her attire last night, it's all fine, well, and good. I think she is a fetching young lady. That's number one. And number two, and I did say this, I think she is so incredibly off base. However, from everything that I have heard, she is a very nice person. That's what I have heard. She's a very nice person, just incredibly misguided. And I don't understand the things that she says about Tennessee.
No.
And I don't agree with what she said about Donald Trump and his supporters, about, being a bigot, white supremacist, and the rest of that. And with that, Chris Hand is coming up next on WTN.